We are joined by Claude Alvarez of the Goa Foundation, the person who has led the decade-old, in fact, more than a decade-old struggle to ensure that illegal mining stops in Goa and a more sustainable environment is in place. Claude, what is your immediate reaction to the final challenge in the Supreme Court being dismissed and the court saying that the 88 leases that were renewed were the renewal was illegal and they upheld the decision to scrap those leases?
Well, I think it's a great you know victory coming after many years of very hard work. But it's something to which we have not contributed as far as the review petitions are concerned, because normally the review petitions are filed by somebody who has an objection to the judgment. And in this case, it was the judgment of a two-judge bench of the Supreme Court, which was passed on the 7th of February 2018. Both the Goa government and Vedanta company filed their objections to this judgment, and we really didn't do anything as far as this was concerned, because review petitions normally go before a bench of the Supreme Court, and generally they go before the same bench that passed the judgment that is sought to be reviewed. But in this case, both the government and Vedanta waited till both the judges retired from the bench and then approached the Supreme Court. And that is what the Supreme Court has um, basically been very critical about. They said that this affects the sanctity of Supreme Court decisions. We can't allow this. We can't allow people to, come and challenge considered judgments at any time. If they had some problem, they should have come within 30 days. They are coming after 650 days, which is totally unacceptable.
But
So
also
certain
the Supreme Court also has said that they are rejecting the review petition on grounds of merit as well.
Yes, they have been very careful to say that they have looked at the review petitions and not found any grounds for reviewing the judgment of Justice Lokur and Justice Deepak Gupta. They have been very categorical about it. But more important is right now they have completely brought down the entire mining industry in a very permanent way, because as long as these review petitions were pending before the Supreme Court, the state government could claim that they need not do any and take any action because these petitions were pending. But now that the challenge to Justice Lokur's judgment is finally thrown out by the Supreme Court, this sounds the death knell of the private mining industry in the state of Goa, because after this, there is no further recourse that they have to even dream of restarting mining under their own wings. This is the real significance. For the first time, there is now a complete break between the leaseholders and the mining scenario in the state of Goa. And there is a complete break in the link between mining companies and the Goa government, which it will be very difficult to restore in the facts and circumstances of this case.
Claude, what was the link between the mining companies and the Goa government? In fact, even in Justice Lokur's judgment, uh, this was kind of mentioned. It was mentioned that the link between the government and the mining lobby was very strong. That came out in the judgment. According to you, what was the link?
See, this is a relationship that has developed over the last decade almost. It began in the year 2004 and got cemented up to 2010, 2012 because of the large scale illegal mining that emerged during the regime of the Congress government and then the BJP government. And both these governments allowed a large amount of illegal mining to take place, largely because they were benefiting together with the miners in sharing the illegal loot that was taking place of the mineral resources of the state of Goa. And having seen the kind of money that was coming in from illegal mining, the politicians heading the government were in no mood to stop any of this lucrative activity that was going on right under their noses. And I'm ashamed to say that these governments, which are installed under constitutional oath, did really nothing to stop the pilfering of publicly owned resources, and they are channeling into private hands uh, when they were supposed to ensure that whatever also, resources are owned by the Goan public have managed well in the public interest and ensure that the maximum benefit from these resources also go to the Goan public at large. So you can say that the watchmen we have placed to watch over these goods themselves began to participate with the thieves to ensure that these goods were stolen. And that is why we have reached a stage where the Goa government, having realized the benefits they get from illegal mining, was now loath to cut and sever the links with these miners, because these miners were very brazen in their mining operations. They knew that they had to only manage a few individuals in the government, in the mines department, etc., and they could walk away with crores of money which they got from pilfering these resources, with the authorities simply looking the other way. As a matter of fact, the Justice Shah Commission report explicitly records that during the time when Digambar Kamath was the chief minister of the state of Goa, the officers of the mines department were expressly directed not to visit the mining areas and not to interfere with what was going on there. This
Claude, coming to
was
the
situation.
Claude, coming to the Shah Commission report, which was going to be my next question, actually, the amount of loss was pegged at that point of time at 35,000 crores, though the figure was approximate. Now, obviously, in spite of the best efforts of yours and the entire agitation that took place to recover the mining loot, that has never been recovered. Now, is there a way in which that money can be recovered? And if the money comes back, how do we benefit? And can it come back?
See, the money can come back if the Goa government has got the will to get that money back, because all these mining companies have assets. They have assets in banks, they have assets in buildings, then they have numerous other assets which can be seized and impounded so that the money can be recovered from all the illegal mining that has taken place. And there is a sanction from Supreme Court in the form of very severe judgments which direct the government to recover all the gains from illegal mining to the extent of 100% of the value recovered from mining operations by any of these leaseholders. So the Goa government, really does not even have to walk on the back foot. They don't have to be timid. They have got Supreme Court judgments telling them that if somebody has violated the law, somebody has violated the conditions laid down under the Environment Protection Act, or somebody has even violated any of the provisions of the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957, then we give them full authority to recover all the value of the ore that has been illegally obtained. And this should be done at 100% of the value of the ore that was stolen, and this money should be put back in the public exchequer. So you have Supreme Court judgments endorsing action of this kind, and no high court or any other court is going to stop the government from doing its duty. But unfortunately, because of this cozy relationship that has continued between the Goa government and miners, and largely due to the fact that the Department of Mines is actually run by people from the mining industry, there is very little hope that the Goa government is going to put any devotion, commitment, or passion into recovery of these huge amounts from the mining companies. To give you just an example, we had to move the High Court recently for directions to the Goa government to recover 3,431 crores, which are estimated to be dues to be collected by the government. And this is as per notices issued by the government itself to the mining companies, on which they did nothing. It is only after we moved a writ petition in the High Court that the government considered that they had to recover these amounts. And you will be surprised to note that out of this 3,000 plus crores which they are supposed to recover, they have now come up with a lame excuse that they can only recover some 300 crores out of
What was this recovery
3,000
against, Claude?
crores.
What was this recovery for?
See, when the mining was shut down because of all the illegal operations, which was actually documented by the former Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar when he was Chief Minister of the State and when he was Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, he had estimated that a large amount of ore had been stolen, and his committee actually came to the conclusion that more than 3,500 crores had been stolen. Then what he did was he appointed a very high committee of chartered accountants, about 17 or 18 chartered accountants. It's known as the Chartered Accountants Committee. And this Chartered Accountants Committee then asked for the accounts and the figures from the Department of Mines and from the mining companies. And it came to the conclusion that the mining companies actually owed the Goa government some 1,500 crores, which had to be recovered. And the Goa government actually issued notices for these amounts for recovery. But they did nothing till we went to the court. This was one item of recovery as per the report of the Chartered Accountants Committee. But there was another report which came out, which is from the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, their 2016 report, which estimated that a sum of 2,500 crores had to be recovered from mining companies on various accounts, including non-payment of royalty, etc., etc., and based on which the state government had also issued demand notices. But they had done nothing. So we went to the High Court even for that, to recover even that amount. And the High Court issued notice, and the government conceded that they had to recall those amounts from the mining companies. But till date, they have done nothing in respect of recovery of those amounts. So a total amount of 3,431 crores, for which the government itself have issued notices for recovery from mining companies, is still lying unclaimed, unrecovered, and the government is now pretending that they can only claim a mere 300 crores on those notices. This is the state of Goa today.
Claude, one final question. The issue is now the Chief Minister, after coming back from Delhi and after the order, said that the future of mining lies in having a mining corporation as well as auctions. My point is, don't you think auctions will allow the same people and people from outside, the tycoons, to get back through a back route? And what is your view on a mining corporation where it's going to be controlled completely by the government?
Well, we have already written to the Goa government on several occasions, even when Mr. Parrikar was alive, and he had asked us to send our proposals. We have also sent these proposals to Dr. Pramod Sawant. We have said very clearly, please set up the corporation and please do mining only under the auspices of a public sector corporation. We have had several reasons for doing this, because if it's with a corporation, then it's very difficult for outside people to come in and bid. Because if you have auctions, then you can be sure that very powerful actors are going to come from outside the state and bid for these auctions and walk away with the wealth that is there under the ground as far as Goa is concerned. So we said, go in for a corporation, and it's going to be easier for you to restart mining if you go in for a corporation. And most important is, we can watch a corporation. There's a CAG to watch a public corporation. We can monitor how much is removed. We can monitor theft in a corporation very well. And most important also, the incentive to steal goes out in a corporation, because the corporation can give out the contracts to extract the ore, and then the ore can be collected by the corporation and sold in the international market or the Indian market. And all that money can go directly into a permanent fund. And the Goans can then be paid a basic income from the interest of this money. Every citizen from the state of Goa can be given a basic income for the rest of their lives from this money. Now, these are very sound proposals which we have made to the state government, and we are insisting on ensuring that these proposals are eventually accepted by the Goa government, and we will move the courts if necessary to ensure that one day this becomes a reality.
Thank you so much, Claude, for talking to us. As always, thank you very much.